It's the best 3-color combo in Magic.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back to Commander Countdown. This is a series where we go over your community polls and give you the answers for different topics. And today we're going to be going over the best 3 color combinations for Commander. And thanks to our sponsor, EDHRec, we're going to be taking a look at a deck list and doing a deck tech for it at the end of the episode. Most of the time for our honorable mentions, we pick the best one that we think should have made the list but didn't. But because there are only 10 different options here, we're going to be sharing with you guys our favorite and what we think is the best 3-color combination that didn't make the list. So Veggie, which one is your honorable mention?
Well, I think the strongest 3-color combination made the list for sure, but the one that got the least votes is maybe my favorite, and that is Jeskai. Good old blue, red, white.
Okay, why is it your favorite?
Well, you get wild and crazy is it stuff. You know that I like to play blue, and then red gives it the scary chaos, and then the white is like, oh, also I can protect myself after I'm the problem. Like, because if I play red or if I play I'm like, oh, look at all this big thing I did. Now I'm a problem. Oh, and everybody just kills me. But white is like, all right, but also you can't kill me.
Okay, Jeskai is a good one. I really liked Jeskai when it was good in Standard. I'm not playing a lot of it in Commander, though. So do you have a favorite Jeskai Commander?
I have a couple, like Pramicon. It's Jeskai colors for a wall as your commander, but you choose a single direction. That is the only way that people can attack the entire game, as long as it's out. Okay. So like where do you even put that? I guess in Jeskai, they get all the weird stuff.
It does sound like a weird deck. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, mine is the opposite. My favorite 3-color combination did make the top 5, but I think you guys drastically missed on the best 3-color combination. And for me, I'm going to say that is Abzan. I don't know, maybe it's a hot take, but I feel like you have access to all of the most important things in Commander. You've got green for the ramp, you have white and black for your removal and your interaction, you have white for protection. Also, the best creatures that are straightforward and powerful on their own without needing a ton of synergy are often white, black, and green. Like, you just kind of have access to everything.
I don't know, it's like the most fair, I would say. I think it is pretty all right at doing everything.
I play fair Magic.
But if you're looking for the strongest 3 colors, I don't think fair cuts it. Like, sure, it can do everything, but only okay. If I'm looking for an edge, I want it to be able to do at least one thing like better than everybody else.
I liked the idea that you were saying fair, but I would argue that they are doing things better than a lot. The green is just drawing cards, right? That's going to be the same in any of the 3-color stuff. And I think black-white is the best for interaction and removal, not close.
I would agree with you. White and black could be the best 2 colors for interact or for removal. Mm-hmm. But then what about blue? Blue also protects you and maybe protects you. Blue also protects you and also brain went away. Oh, that's it. Blue also draws cards, and I think most people would say better than green.
Yes, but green and white are both drawing cards as well. So I think that these colors kind of cover all of the bases. They don't probably protect yourself as well as a blue-white combo because those colors are both designed to protect yourself. But I think, green-white are the 2 supplemental card drawing colors next to blue. So, that would probably be better than a deck that is blue but doesn't have green and white. But I still think it's very, very close on a lot of those things. And I think it is the best for interaction and removal. It's got the card draw in 2 colors. It's got protection in one of the colors. I don't know. It seems super well-rounded, access to a ton of things. And I think it does do some of those things the best.
As they say, jack of all trades, master of none. And there's no other part to that saying. So...
All right. Let us know what you think of Abzan in the comments. But we have your strongest and my favorite still to come in the top 5. Let's go ahead and move on to what you guys thought was the best 3-color combinations. And I want to say one more thing. Siege Rhino. All right. Coming in at number 5, you guys think Temur deserves a spot on the top 5 strongest color combos.
Yeah, hold on. Who's playing Siege Rhino and Commander?
I want to kill people with Siege Rhino. Just leave me alone.
Temur. Temur at number 5. It was hard for me to not put Temur as my favorite. It is very close in my heart, and I think it deserves to be higher up on this list because, again, you get the super high impact of red, you get the interaction from blue, and you get to do it pretty fast because both green and red ramp very quickly.
Yep, green has the extra, so the ramp spells, and then you've got the red stuff that are going to get you more floating red mana a lot as well. I like that Temur comes out. It's very punchy a lot of the times. I like the 3-color Temur cards. We saw a lot of what Temur's sort of identity was when we were in Khans of Tarkir, and that was really fun getting to see those sort of punchy cards. I really like it.
Right. Like literal punchy, is it that actually hits people?
Yeah. Overall, as far as play style, Temur not exactly my thing, but I definitely can see why it would make the top 5. It seems like a fun and cool interaction that you don't normally get to do in green.
Mm-hmm. The one thing I will say for it, though, is it has this conflict of, do I want to tap out on my turn or do I want to hold up things?
I mean, that's just a trade-off you're going to have to deal with. And you can always play counter spells that don't need you to hold up mana because you're the dirty blue mage.
I don't play any of those because those are the good cards.
Veggie, do you have a favorite Temur commander for our number 5 spot?
I gotta think about stuff.
Yeah, think about. I'm gonna ask you this for every single one.
It's often not the commander that I'm super worried about. It's just the cards in the deck that I want to play. But I think recently, like Me the Immortal is a really cool concept of a commander that keeps counters on itself no matter where it goes, and in better colors than like what's his face that was in Golgari that does it. Lara Croft coming out is in Temur, also a very unique ability that I'll have to try out.
True. I will say for me, the Temur deck I've had the most fun playing recently was actually the Precon, the 13th Doctor and Yasmin Khan. That deck is a blast to play. I actually got one for myself in addition to the show, so I could keep sleeving it up, and I'm keeping it as is. I think it is super fun.
Just counters and spells and counters. Yeah.
And you get to play them from, other places. So you just keep getting more value and free cards and... All right, let's go ahead and talk about number 4. And the winner is Jund.
Yes, they've won number 4.
That's true.
I rarely Jund them out. This is one of my least played color combinations. There's a lot of value, which I feel like you would like. It likes to sacrifice a lot of stuff and bring stuff back out of the graveyard. It has got some big, scary things. The combination of black and green and red, all like big, scary monsters.
I do like big, scary monsters and value, but I will say it doesn't protect itself super well. It doesn't have access to blue counter magic or white protection spells, and that leaves me a little bit on edge. I like to have those. I will say I'm not a huge fan of blue, so this is pretty high on my list of things I'm likely to play, though. All right, Veggie, to wrap up Jund, what is your favorite or the most powerful Jund commander?
I mean, I think Corvold by far is the most powerful Jund commander and is like just the most Jund you can possibly Jund.
There is a lot of Junding going on. And when I think of it, I think of that, really, honestly. For me, I'm going to go with the thing I've had the most fun playing. And on a recent episode, we did a community deck and submitted was Vazi Keen Negotiator and had a bunch of treasures, sack outlets, synergy. It was a blast. I loved that deck. And I actually considered rebuilding it for myself.
Yeah, I could see Jund being more fun if it's got those weird angles to it. And like there are a few of those that I would consider if I had to play Jund, like Beamtown Bullies or Yurlok, which brings mana burn back. But yeah, it's just not my thing.
All right, let's go ahead and move on to the community's number 3 choice, and that is going to be Esper.
I mean, the definition of control, you are real good at stopping whatever you want. You have the removal from black and the counter magic from blue and the protection from white.
Card draw from all of them, honestly.
you're incredibly good at saying no. And at a certain point, once you've said no to everything, then whatever you've got left probably wins you the game.
Esper's been a thing in Standard for like 2 years now. It's been around a lot, and I see it in a lot of commanders, a lot of people's favorite. I actually think that I would have thought Esper would have been higher. And actually, this is my vote for my favorite to play. I like the value side of things. I like drain and gain. One of the first commander decks I built was Yannette. So there's a lot here with Esper, and I think there's a lot of different ways you can play it. And I think it also makes for a good range of power levels. No matter what you're looking for, there's a commander here for you.
Yeah. I think the tough part for Esper in Commander is the conflict between how much you care about what other people are doing and stopping that, and how much you care about what you yourself are doing. Because often you can get stuck in these positions where you're like, I have all interaction and nothing to do right now.
Okay, Veggie, who's your Esper commander?
I stopped playing Esper because I would drag the games out too long. But two that I think we have to mention Tivit, because that commander is messed up. It does so many things, and it's like tearing up the like CEDH scene right now as well. And it's just, it does so much stuff.
All right. My mention, so I already mentioned my first one, which was Yannette, but the one that I'm looking forward to building and that I think is really cool and interactive is Alayla. That was a card that I wanted to build before we ended up brewing it for Zebex's Halloween episode, but I think it's really neat, and it's a good representation for the wide range that Esper has. So this is going to be like, tokens and wide things and flyers and fairies to me are very Esper. So I think that this is a cool card. Mm-hmm. Okay, we're almost there. Number 2, the community has decided by a pretty hefty margin here that Grixis is going to be in the number 2 spot.
Yes, not by a large enough of a margin, I think, because this to me, as soon as we decided on this topic, I was like, oh, of course, Grixis will be number 1. Grixis will be far and away number 1, and I was very surprised by this.
Why do you think that Grixis is so much stronger than everything else?
Grixis is the bad guy, and it's just like the definition of the bad guy. Whenever you sit down to a commander table and somebody pulls out their Grixis deck, regardless of who the commander is, you're like, I know this is going to be a problem. They can kill your creatures, they can they can burn your face, they can counter your spells. They have the tutors from black to be able to do it consistently, but the sheer power of red, and it's just like very consistent, very powerful, and hard to stop.
So this is, in the beginning, we were talking about the colors that do something. These 3 colors are all the colors that are interacting with you. The removal across the whole boards, the counters, the, burn. This is the very definition of like, you do not get to play Magic, only I get to play Magic. And that's very villain-esque, like you were saying.
Mm-hmm. As you move up through the power levels of commander tables, Grixis shows up more and more and more, to a point where when you are playing very high power, to not see a Grixis deck on the table is very rare. The budget Lord of the Rings episode where Airball played Saruman looked like he had done nothing and then just won very handily out of nowhere and stopped interaction that would have stopped him.
Oh yeah. I remember that episode. Did actual nothing, and then attempted to like win in one turn, hold open counter magic to prevent the absurd stop that you managed to find. What a crazy game. And that just goes to show you the different tools that Grixis has access to, being in blue for the counter, being in black for the control, being in red for the explosive endings.
Yeah, it does what it wants and is really hard to stop it from doing that.
Yeah. So do you have a favorite Grixis commander?
One of the first decks that I built was Marchesa the Black Rose, and that felt very Grixis to me. at the time. I think it's probably a little power crept at the moment, but like just being able to recur all of your stuff every turn while powering up your team was very strong and a lot of fun.
It is a little sad when your favorite commanders sort of get power crept out of the game. For me, I'm going to list a newish commander because we actually recently had it on the show and it was a ton of fun to see it operate and be piloted. And that's going to be Davros Dalek Creator. It is a super fun commander that had some villainous choices, and you talked about Grixis being the bad guy, and it is literally the bad guy, and it got to make some really cool Daleks and making everybody make terrible choices, and it was a fun deck to see piloted. I'd like to see a sort of updated power level appropriate version of it. I think this would be super fun. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to the number one color combination for 3-color decks, and you guys think that is Sultai.
I get it. I do get it. And I think it is one of the best 3-color groupings in Magic. It likes to do very big things because of the ramp from green. And then you have just the high impact of black plus the interaction from blue.
But when I said Abzan, you said that the green wasn't good enough for the ramp and the black wasn't good enough for the control. But you like this one just because you add blue?
Yes, because Abzan, I didn't say it was bad. I just said it wasn't the best. It did it fine, but I think anything that Abzan is doing, Sultai does but better.
I don't like you.
That's why that I think is probably the best argument for why Sultai made this spot. If you pick a thing, you better be able to say that your 3 colors does it better than Sultai, or like that's the standard, I think.
I think they're doing sort of different things. I think white brings a different thing to the table than blue does, certainly, but I think you get to utilize. Anyway, we're going to talk about Sultai now. Yeah, I like Sultai. I am surprised that it is the number 1 spot, but not terribly. I definitely think it deserves a spot in the top 5.
It likes to ramp for like 5 turns and then drop some absurd 10 mana spell and then cover it with counter spells until everybody is dead. Everyone has that experience with Sultai.
Also, I think Sultai is one of the color groupings that has the widest range of different types of decks. So you see things, that are super controlling. You have things that are super graveyard. You have things that are super combo-y. And unlike some of the other color pairings that like the colors kind of shoehorn you into a specific deck type, I don't think Sultai's doing that. So it also makes, I think, for a wide range of fun gameplay.
I think a lot of people would disagree with that. I think you're right. I think it can be done in a lot of different fun ways.
Well, I'm talking down here in the baby pool. I'm at the kid table.
No. I mean, I that is where I think more people should be. But I think another reason that this is so strong is a lot of people, regardless of what commander it is, will build Sultai they will build it in the same way, and that same way is very strong.
Fair. But I'm looking at like Indominus Rex that's coming out, and that's a very unique build doing something that I don't see a lot of these other commanders wanting to be doing. So I just think it's pretty neat. And then you've got cards like Meldrotha, which is a cool recursion thing. I just think that the commanders are unique.
I think they are less unique than other 3 colors, but no, all right, you know what? No, Jund are less unique.
Yeah, I definitely don't think Sultai is the most unique, but I think that some of the colors are kind of boring. When you scroll through the top 20 commanders, if you look at that color combination, it's just like, okay, more of kind of the same thing, where, I don't know, I was looking at all of these and they all seemed like they wanted to do something kind of different. Do you have a favorite Sultai commander?
Yeah, I do. It's Otrimi, the something. Otrimi, the ever playful, because mutate is a strange mechanic.
Yeah.
It ends up still doing what Sultai always does, which is draw a bunch of cards and put a bunch of lands onto the battlefield and fart out a million spells that are all 50 mana. But it does it with some weird things too.
All right, so you feel so strongly about that character, that commander. How come we haven't seen it on the show yet?
Because I don't know if we want me drawing like 50 infinite tokens, all of like slightly different copies of Otrimi. And I don't know if we have enough space on the board for all the things that come out.
We can get a bigger table.
Okay. All right. When we upgrade that, then I'll play Otrimi on the show.
All right. So Sultai, not my jam, but I got to pick a commander. And I think I really like Muldrotha. I liked playing it in limited and value.
I don't even need to say it. Like, I was like, of course it's the like just pure value Sultai commander.
And I would build it super fair. Like there would be no shenanigans. I would just have a bunch of valuable things and I would just replay them. And hopefully you will eventually die.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Muldrotha is
value.
a classic. Yeah.
I will just shove value down your throat until you die.
But like good value with Sultai as opposed to bad value with Abzan. Yeah.
No, Abzan is great. Gosh. Okay, guys, let us know in the comments your favorite and the most powerful 3-color pairings. We want to know, do you think that this top 5 was accurate? And also don't forget to vote. We have a link down in the description to our brand new website for you guys all to put in votes for our next topics.
Yeah, we need your votes. Everybody thought Grixis was number 2. Fix that.
And you guys think Abzan doesn't belong on the list. I still think you're all wrong. But now, thanks to our sponsor, EDHRec, we are going to be doing a deck tech submitted by one of our patrons that matches the theme of today's episode.
The deck list for today has been submitted by our patron, Baker, and it is an Abzan list headed by Thalia and the Gitrog monster.
Clearly, Baker knows what they're talking about.
All right. Well, I mean, we haven't seen the deck yet. We will find out. Thalia and the Gitrog monster, though, is a heck of a card. It is 4 mana for a 4/4. First strike and death touch, which is a great combination. Then also you can play an additional land on each of your turns. All right. But also creatures and non-basic lands your opponents play come into play tapped. And also, when it attacks, you can sacrifice a creature or a land to draw a card.
It does everything. It has access to all the things.
It feels very not Abzan because it does some of these things really well.
It makes me so mad that you were like, no, it doesn't do anything well. And then to say the same thing about another color that say it does the same thing well for just the one color. Frustrating. All right. So I'm actually really excited about this deck list for 2 reasons. One, this was not only one of our patrons, but Baker has become a sponsor, an episode sponsor. So you will get to see this deck in action in one of our future episodes. And also because Thalia and the Gitrog monster was on my short list of commanders to build for the show.
All right, let's see what we got.
And they have Helm of the Host. Yes! Let's go, Baker!
I'm not playing this list.
Yes, I'm going to play it. I'm going to play it. Dibs, dibs, dibs. Dibs, dibs, dibs.
I like the
Helm of the Host. Helm of the Host.
I'm cutting it from the deck.
No, you can't cut a patron sponsor's deck list.
Well, I'll talk to them beforehand and be like, I should update the list before we play it. A little light on rocks, which I feel like I've been saying for like the past 5 deck techs. You should put more mana rocks in your decks. But I think maybe the green spells will make up for that.
You tell me the same thing all the time.
Yeah.
Chromatic Lantern's cool. I don't see it in a lot of deck lists, but this is a 3-color one, so that's really nice. I also like seeing a sword in the deck. I collect them. I think swords are really cool. I don't like it when people overdo it. And I think having access to one is pretty neat. Mm-hmm.
And I'm guessing that one of these abilities, the Proliferate, probably is relevant.
It'll be spicy.
Yeah. Conduit World's excellent card.
Yep.
And Thalia is going to be feeding lands into your graveyard, so that's free value.
I like value. And I love all of these cards. Look, Muldrotha, Elishnorn, Esper Sentinel, Birds of Paradise. It's just everything about Abzan makes me so happy.
Well, those are Selesnya cards, so if we maybe switched out one of those for like a better color, then it would be better. There's only 12 creatures in this deck. That's interesting.
You're fired, Veggie. Get out of here. Airball. Come replace him. 12 creatures in Abzan. That is weird.
Mm-hmm. I think we get some hints here, though, as to why that is.
We have another proliferate option, so I'm guessing we're going to see some spicy targets for proliferate, maybe some planeswalkers.
Oh, because we have Karth the Lion here, which I think makes it pretty clear we are going to see some planeswalkers. I don't remember exactly what this does, but I know it's planeswalkery.
Vorn collects.
Yep. Yeah. Sounds like planeswalkers
And
to me.
Shalai. Oh my god.
Oh,
this deck is going to be so much fun to play. And doubling season, it's literally and Felidar Retreat, all my favorite cards. Like actual all of them.
Elspeth's talent. If we weren't sure we were playing planeswalkers, we certainly are now. I think all the talents are very cool cards that I don't get to see often because you got to be playing planeswalkers. But let's see. Oh, but there's also an intangible virtue. So are we planeswalkers and like token go wide?
They had doubling season, so there's definitely going to be some tokens. Felidar Retreat certainly makes a bunch of tokens.
We've got 2 angles right now. Instants, not a lot.
Not a lot, but all premium ones I'm used to seeing.
Yeah.
And it's a Fairies Protection on top, just for a cherry.
Yes. Lull is a card I think more people should be playing because sometimes you wish you had a fog.
I thought you were saying lol, like there was a card you were laughing at.
Lol. Prevent all combat damage.
I was like, that was weird. I don't normally hear you talking those things.
Yeah. I think more people should be playing Lamau. It is, I think, well suited in the meta. A lot of times you don't have a fog and you feel like you would like to have a fog. And a lot of times you have a fog and you're like, I do not need this fog. But a fog with cycling, perfect. We're Field of the Deading. Karn's Bastion for what we will see soon, I'm sure. And here we are.
Wow, that's a lot of planeswalkers. Holy smokes.
And we've got, like 2 more lines of them, I think?
Multiple Johnnies, Elspeths, Garuks.
Yes. Almost all of these make tokens. These are specifically planeswalkers that make creature tokens.
Yep.
The Super Friends decks that I tend to see are just like, put a bunch of planeswalkers in. Great. We do planeswalker stuff. But this is like a specific strategy because from what I can tell, you're playing planeswalkers, you're making creature tokens, you are then sacking them probably to Thalia and the Gitrog monster and fueling this whole little engine.
That was an impressive fart noise.
Thanks. I practiced that a lot in high school and like last week. Exsanguinate for when you just got to get the job done.
We got 1 high-end tutor.
Triumph of the Hordes also for sometimes when you just got to get the job done.
That's what Abzan does. It gets the job done.
There's also Winds of Abandon for you when you need to get the job undone. That's a card I feel does not show up in enough lists. It is very good, especially considering people are playing less and less basic lands. So pathing every creature that your opponents have just turns out to like, oh, go and grab your 3 basics that you're running in exchange for your entire board.
All right, that is the end of the deck list. I'm super excited about it. It's a unique build, and I'm excited to see what EDHRec has to say. If there are any other options for us, let's take a look. All right, EDH, let's see what we're missing, if anything.
I will say this. Yeah, this is pretty unique for an Abzan list because like you can build it in multiple ways and not just one super boring value way.
Scoots. I don't know if we saw a Scoot Swarm in there, but that'd be cool.
I don't think we did. And it gets the benefit from double lands per turn. In fact, just from looking at these first few cards, it looks like the majority of people are taking that landfall approach to this deck. Because we didn't see many of these cards at all, but they don't really play into the strategy that Baker is leaning into here.
Which is the token side of it.
Right. Drana and Linvala. A lot of you are playing that in this deck. And why are you doing that?
A lot of people, actually. You're right. Holy crap. I mean, it is just a good card in its own right. So maybe it's just that's what Abzan does. It plays a bunch of good cards.
That's so specific, though. I feel like tell me what I'm missing. There is something here that I do not see because this is it is weird to have 50% of 5,000 decks running this together. So
that is awfully high for a random card that I think is good that you could put in without there being another reason.
Right. Can you sack? Oh, you can sack lands. You can sack lands with Braids, which then if you are doing the land thing, you are then playing them back out of your graveyard. Yeah, y'all Abzan players are boring. This is like just a single thing. It's just landfall. You're just doing landfall.
Don't be mad at all Abzan players.
We have looked at one Abzan.
Was this in the list? That's a perfect card for landfall token generations.
Yeah, for Maya, Bredeguard, Protector.
Yeah. Artifacts, the utility artifacts we didn't see a ton of. And I would like to see some more of those. I didn't see like the Swiftfoot Boots and Lightning Greaves. Did you?
No. And that would be nice just to be able to swing with Thalia and Gitrog right away since they have that attack trigger.
Sword of the Animus, is that the one that makes the gets landfalls? That would be a good one. Especially after you add Scoot Swarm, because I like saying scoots.
I wonder, let's see what people are putting in as far as Planeswalkers go.
Not a lot.
Not a lot.
But you have me. That's my cosplay.
That's you.
That is me.
I don't think you were in the deck list because you do not make tokens. You landfall. I'm going to take a quick look at instants since we didn't see many of them. The ones that were in were pretty solid, but if there were other options. Yeah, I mean, it probably would not hurt to toss in a Heroic Intervention in there.
I feel like the Heroic Intervention is a little less exciting in this version because it doesn't protect your Planeswalkers super well. It does make it so your creatures can block for free, but because your creatures are less impressive in general on their own, you either might not have any or maybe Trample will go over them. Just feels a little less exciting than when the creatures are the things that are being protected.
I'm still, I think, for sure running this in if I were building a version of this deck, just because
it's strong.
It's a nice catch-all, yeah.
Yeah. All right, I think that wraps up our deck tech for Baker. Veggie, what changes would you like to see? And what do you rate this on the Veggie scale as far as flavor, power, and synergy?
This is a tough one for me because I do not play Super Friends in any shape or form. I really like what this deck is doing. I think it's a very fresh take on both Thalia and the Gitrog monster and the Super Friends archetype. But the thing about Planeswalkers is they're always a thing you do on your own turn, and I don't usually do those things. I think the deck is very well built and very fun and almost convinces me to play Super Friends. So for that, I will give it an 8 for that because I am tempted to play this and I do not like Super Friends.
Nice. I also am typically not a huge Super Friends fan. I like to put a Planeswalker, maybe 2 in a deck if it synergizes well with what I'm trying to do. But to me, though this is kind of Super Friends, it is different because the whole plan is to still generate tokens and win through that versus the typical Super Friends deck, which is like you said, fart noise, put a bunch of good planeswalkers on, turn all those planeswalkers into dragons and kill people. This is still going to be just making a bunch of things and then using Thalia and Mondrak to overrun the board, which I think is great. I'm really excited about this deck. I hope I get to be the one that gets to play it in our sponsor episode. I'm going to give this a 9 out of 10.
Oh,
I think it's really, really cool. I love the unique build for tokens, and I love Abzan and tokens and value. I'm excited.
I think that's big props to Baker for winning 2 non-Planeswalker players over with this list.
That's the end of our Patron deck tech. Thank you so much, Baker, for submitting this list. It was a pleasure to look at. And don't forget, guys, if you would like to submit a list of your own and help us unlock weekly decked out episodes, you can head on over to our Patreon where you can unlock these deck techs, spell table games with us, signed tokens, and even submit your own list for us to play on the main show.
And of course, thank you to our sponsor, EDHRec, the best place to go if you need some help building your decks, just getting ideas, or finding something new to play. And that's there. Oh,
like and subscribe.
And that's what we're doing. Great. We'll see you next time on
Decked
Commander
Out.
Countdown.
Wait.